This is the Dinky Style Super Strat from Fesley, a relatively new entry-level guitar brand that sells online. The people over at Fesley are bragging about how their guitars are made in the Fender factory. This could be huge. I mean, we really don't know though, do we? So I guess it's good that we got this guy here. We're going to check out his specs. I'll play him so you can hear him. I'll give you my opinions, and hopefully along the way, we'll get a better idea of what they mean when they say made in the Fender factory. Now we're going to start up top, specifically the headstock, because there's a lot of good stuff going on right here. The nut is boned and it is very well cut. The slots are cut to a proper depth, but the strings don't get buried in those slots. The nut itself is cut down to a proper height so that the strings are actually partially coming out of the top of each slot because they're not supposed to be buried. This is a really nice nut. Good job. Now, right next door to the nut, we have our 18-to-1 tuners. At least that's what Fesley says they are, and in my tryouts, they are really nice. They probably are 18-to-1. They are very, very accurate, very, very smooth. You just don't see that on this price point. So this is a pretty big deal. At this price point, these tuners are an exception, not the rule. So I have to call them exceptional for this price point. Now, if we head over to the back of the neck, you can see if you take a quick look that there's a bit of flame in the maple. Nice little bonus. As for the profile, the neck profile on this guitar is like a lot of guitars at this price point, a modern C. Basically, this is a one-size-fits-most size that is a little bit thinner from front to back than a standard C size, and a little bit narrower from top to bottom at the nut. Now, if we move on over to the top of the fretboard, you'll see that these frets are small, but they are really, really well cared for. Right out of the box, this guitar was very, very playable, and that's in part because they did the proper work on this fret job. Okay, they did the fret leveling, they did the crowning, they did the polishing, they made sure the fret ends were at the proper angle, and there's no fret sprout. So, great job. I mean, this neck overall, you know, like 4.25, 4.5 out of 5. This is a really solid neck. And now we're moving on to the body, which according to company specs is poplar, which is solid tone wood. It's relatively inexpensive, and tone-wise, at least as I've heard, it falls a little bit between alder and mahogany. So it's a pretty solid choice. It's painted in a satin black, which as you can see is pretty nice. It gives the guitar a simple, clean look, especially when you pair it with these white pickups. More on those in a second. As for the bridge, it's a standard 6-point Fender style tremolo. And the best I can say about this tremolo is that it doesn't matter if it's on a guitar at this price point or a $2,000 guitar. You're always going to have some tuning challenges, okay? So it is what it is. It's been around for like 80, 90 years at this point, and it's a solid option because it's always been an option. So there's that. Now, as for the tone control and the volume controls, you got, I believe, one volume, a master volume, and 2 tone controls, and 5-way switch. They all do the job they're supposed to do about as well as you should expect in a guitar at this price point. I think that's about the fairest way to say this. They're not bad, they're just all what they are. So, now about those pickups. The pickups are probably the best thing about this guitar, which is saying a lot because there are a lot of good things to like about this guitar. Like pretty much everything up here. Okay? And the wood choice, and the painting. You get my point, right? The reason I say that about the pickups, though, is because they could have gotten away with just throwing any 2 single-coil pickups in here along with any other humbucker. And no one would have noticed, no one would have cared, because at this price point, the general thinking is, I'm going to have to throw pickups in it anyway. But they didn't do that over at Fesley. They actually came up with a set that is designed to work together. Right? You got single coil pickups, which tend to be brighter on the high end. They have a lot of high end, not a lot of bottom end. Humbuckers tend to have more bottom end, and the highs don't get quite as bright. So they designed these to kind of work together. There's a balance there. The humbucker is brighter than standard, and the single coils aren't quite as harsh in the highs as you can get on an inexpensive guitar. And the volume between all these pickups is more or less the same. It's not perfect, but they're close. So, sound test, right? Well, a lot of time has actually passed. I started doing this review, pretty much everything you've seen up to this point, during the time that I was having that burnout issue. But more than that, as I got to this point, I started having a problem with the guitar. Position 1, the bridge position, and position 2, which introduces the single coil into the bridge position, I'm getting noise. And so, with everything going slow, eventually I got it off to the shop. And they basically weren't able to figure out what it was. As far as they were telling me, it was 60 cycle hum that I was hearing. But I would be hearing that in position 3, and position 4, and position 5, well, 3 and 5 anyway. But I'm not hearing anything different in those positions. I hear a difference in positions 1 and 2. So I do think that there's some kind of grounding issue going on in that position. Maybe it just has to do with the ground on that particular lug, on that particular pot. I don't know. But I'm going to pursue getting it fixed somewhere else this time around. And when I do, if you guys are interested, we'll do an extended ownership review, and I'll do a sound test then. All right? But I couldn't keep you guys waiting for this guitar anymore. I mean, this is a Fesley, and they're coming out with all the new Fesleys now. So I had to put it out there. So my apologies for no sound test this time. I know 80% of you guys who watch these videos aren't subscribed to the channel. So do us both a favor. Subscribe already, okay? Ring the notification bell. And since you made it this far into the video, how about you smash the like button, all right? And don't forget, we're doing the 10K subscriber drive giveaway, all right? When the channel hits 10,000 subscribers, I'm giving away an electric guitar that I personally heavily modified. It's got a brand new pickup. It's got a secret that I haven't disclosed yet in the tone control. It's got a whole brand new headstock design, new set of tuners, and I refinished the neck. But I'm telling you too much. You want to know more, you got to subscribe, and you got to watch the update video that's coming, all right? And if you want to win it, you got to subscribe, ring the notification bell, and then comment in the videos. Make sure I notice you more than somebody else, and you can win. Because the person who gets themselves noticed more than anybody else is going to win it, all right? Personally, I think this guitar sounds pretty good. It's bright. It's not like playing a Les Paul where it's going to be warm and buttery smooth and all that. This is meant to be kind of like an entry-level lead guitar almost. And it's good at what it does. It doesn't try to be something it's not. This is a dinky, right? Dinkies are historically shred guitars, right? So it's kind of leaning that way. But it's still meaning to be an entry-level guitar for pretty much anybody. And you achieve that with the pickup configuration. So I think they've done a really good job here overall. And I know personally, I'm not changing these pickups anytime soon. See me in a year or two, see what I say then. But I really have no inclination to change anything on this guitar. I'm perfectly happy with the way it is. I think you will be too. So do yourself a favor and pick one up if you're thinking about it, okay? I don't make any money off these, all right? So please don't go thinking that I'm trying to sell you something. There's going to be a link in the description, and they got a lot of different colors. Go pick one out.
So just what does it mean to be made in the Fender factory? A quick look on the back of the headstock shows us that it's made in the People's Republic of China. And if we look online, we can find out that the company Cort owns a guitar factory in China and currently has a contract to make Fender guitars for Fender Musical Instrument Corporation. So technically, yes, these guitars are made in the Fender factory, but technically they're also made in the Cort factory.
Gonna do it for this one. I've been RJ. You've been awesome. Until the next one, take it easy.